I never thought my own family could become my worst enemy. But that's exactly what happened in the dusty sprawl of Red Rock, Arizona, where the sun beats down like a relentless judge and secrets fester in the dry heat. My name is Emily Carter, and at 19, I was just trying to carve out a life in this small western town, working part-time at the local bookstore, Desert Pages, while taking online classes for community college. Red Rock wasn't much. Think endless blue skies, red sandstone cliffs, and folks who prided themselves on toughing it out without complaint. My parents fit right in, Mom. Laura, a real estate agent selling dream homes to retirees fleeing the coasts, and Dad,
Tom,
an accountant crunching numbers for the mining companies that dotted the landscape. They were the picture of middle-class stability, always preaching self-reliance and fiscal responsibility. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, Dad would say, quoting some old Western adage. But when I found that lump, their bootstraps turned into chains. It started on a crisp February morning in 2024, the kind where the desert chill lingers until the sun climbs high. I was in the shower, steam fogging up the mirror in our modest ranch-style house on the outskirts of town. As I rinsed shampoo from my hair, my fingers brushed something odd at the base of my skull, a small, hard knot, like a pebble under the skin. I froze, water cascading down my back, and probed it again. Not sore, but definitely there, uninvited and unnatural. My mind raced through possibilities, maybe a bug bite from hiking the trails last weekend, or a cyst from stress. But deep down, a knot twisted in my gut, this felt off. I dried off, threw on jeans and a flannel shirt, standard uniform for shelving books, and headed downstairs. Mom was already at the kitchen island, sipping coffee from her Desert Queen mug, scrolling through listings on her tablet. Her highlighted hair was impeccable. Even at dawn, image was everything in her line of work. Mom, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I found a weird lump on my neck. Right here. I lifted my damp hair to show her. She glanced up briefly, then back to her screen. Probably just a swollen gland.
Eminência.
You've been burning the midnight oil with those classes. Stress does funny things. But finals were over weeks ago. I think I should see Doc Harlan about it. She set her mug down with a clink. Emily, our deductible is sky high. We can't chase every little ache. Remember that ER trip last year? You thought it was a heart attack. But it was just panic. Cost us a fortune. That stung. Senior year had been rough, college apps, part-time work, and yeah, I'd had a panic attack that mimicked something worse. But this was physical, tangible. Dad shuffled and then, knotting his tie, his face etched with the perpetual worry lines from tax season. What's the ruckus? Mom filled him in, rolling her eyes. Emily's at it again with WebMD woes. Dad chuckled dryly. Kiddo, you're young and healthy. Don't borrow trouble. Focus on your shifts and studies. That's what builds character. I bit back frustration, grabbed my backpack, and biked the 5 miles to Desert Pages under the rising sun. The lump nagged at me all day, a constant whisper as I stacked novels and rang up customers. By closing, I'd almost talked myself down, but touching it again in the employee bathroom mirror reignited the worry. I resisted Googling, echoing Dad's words in my head. Instead, I pedaled home, the desert wind whipping dust devils across the road. Weeks dragged on, the lump unchanging but my anxiety mounting. I saved tips from the bookstore to cover a visit to the urgent care clinic without insurance. Slipping out during lunch, I saw a nurse practitioner who frowned as she palpated the spot. This warrants an ultrasound, she said. Could be nothing, but let's rule out issues. Relief flooded me. Validation at last. But using the family insurance triggered an explanation of benefits mailed home. That evening, they ambushed me in the living room. The EOB crumpled in Mom's fist. What the hell? Emily, Dad's face was thunderous. Going behind our backs? I explained, but Mom cut in. This is about your hypochondria flaring up. We're not letting it drain our savings. They lectured me on responsibility, how premiums could spike. I argued I was an adult, but living under their roof meant their rules. For your own good, Mom said, her tone final. The restrictions piled up subtly at first. They monitor my phone for safety, installed a tracker app. Dad changed my bank login, claiming I needed guidance on finances. When I scraped together cash for another checkup, the doctor ordered an MRI. Clutching the referral like gold, I showed Mom. She read it, then unbelievably tore it up and flushed the pieces. We're not enabling this delusion, she said, her eyes cold. It's poisoning our family. That night, alone in my room overlooking the starry desert, something shifted. The lump was real. Their denial was the poison. I started journaling secretly symptoms, dates, photos snapped in the mirror, hidden in an old textbook. Headaches crept in, dizziness during hikes. I became a ghost in my own home, hiding pain behind smiles. At work, my boss, Mrs.
Elena Vargas.
A no-nonsense woman in her 60s with a soft spot for strays, noticed. You okay? Mija? You look like you're carrying the world. I brushed it off as family stress, but her concern planted a seed. The tumor, for that's what I suspected now, was growing, and so was my resolve. As spring thawed the Arizona chill, turning red rock into a furnace, my symptoms escalated like a slow-building storm. The headaches pounded like thunder behind my eyes, and my left hand tingled with pins and needles, making it hard to grip books at the store. I adapted, arranging my long hair to conceal the lump, wearing high-collared shirts despite the heat, and blaming dizzy spells on dehydration. Drink more water, customers would say, echoing the town's rugged ethos. But inside, I was unraveling. Grandpa's 75th birthday loomed. A big shindig at the Red Rock Country Club, where the elite mingled over golf and margaritas. Mom dove into planning like it was her Super Bowl, ordering me a fitted red dress that screamed, "Perfect daughter." The high neckline chafed against the lump, but I thanked her, anything to avoid confrontation. In private, I practiced in the mirror, smile wide, head steady.
No wincing.
My notebook filled with entries. April 15th, vision blurred during shift, nearly dropped a stack of hardcovers. Overhearing my parents one night sealed my isolation. Through the thin walls of our Adobe-style home, Mom's voice drifted. She's better without all that doctor nonsense. Just like my cyst in college, harmless. But I didn't make a federal case out of it. Dad murmured agreement. Tough loves working. No more drama. My blood ran cold. Mom had a similar issue once, and still dismissed mine? The betrayal burned hotter than the desert sun. They knew it could be real, yet chose control over care. The party was a glittering facade under string lights on the club's patio. The scent of mesquite smoke from the grill mixing with expensive perfumes. Relatives from Phoenix and Vegas swarmed, air-kissing and toasting. Emily, you're glowing, Aunt Carla gushed. I nodded, the motion sparking pain, clutching a soda to hide my trembling hand. Family photos by the fountain, everyone posed. Me in the back, fighting nausea as the world tilted. Then it hit, a wave of vertigo that buckled my knees. I crumpled slowly, dress pooling around me like blood. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Emily, Grandpa's gravelly voice boomed. Call an ambulance. Mom rushed over. She's fine, just low blood sugar. Get up, honey. But I couldn't. The pain was electric, shooting down my spine. Dad hovered, whispering furiously, "Don't make a scene." Paramedics arrived, checking vitals. Possible neurological issue, one said. She needs the ER. At the hospital, under fluorescent lights,
A doctor examined me.
this lump concerns me. We need imaging. But Mom interjected. It's anxiety. She's had episodes before. The doc hesitated. HIPAA laws meant I could consent alone. But with parents footing bills, pressure mounted. They discharged me with pain meds, advising follow-up. Back home, Mom's facade cracked. You ruined Grandpa's night for attention? A sharp slap followed, her ring grazing my cheek. Grow up. That was my breaking point. The next day, I confided in Mrs. Vargas at work. Her eyes widened as I spilled everything, the denials, the destroyed referral.
The slap.
That's abuse. Mija. Medical neglect. She hugged me, then made calls. By afternoon, she'd connected me with a social worker friend, MS,
Rito Gomez.
who specialized in young adult cases. You're over 18, Rita said over coffee in a quiet diner. You have rights under Arizona law. We can file for emancipation if needed, or report to Adult Protective Services. Hope flickered. Rita helped me document photos of the bruise from the slap, my journal entries. She referred me to Dr.
Alex Rivera.
a neurologist at the regional hospital in Flagstaff, willing to see me pro bono through a grant program. No insurance.
No parents.
I hitched a ride with Mrs. Vargas. The drive through pine-dotted canyons a brief escape.
Dr. Rivera.
Mid-30s with a calm demeanor. Listened without judgment. Let's get an MRI, he said after examining the lump. Symptoms suggest compression. Could be serious. Using his research fund, we scheduled it late. Off books. Lying in the machine's clanging tube, I felt exposed yet empowered. Results came fast. A benign tumor at my skull base, pressing on nerves and fluid pathways. Treatable with surgery, he explained, showing scans. But delayed care caused some damage, possible lingering weakness. Tears came, relief mixed with rage. My parents ignored this for months.
Dr.
Rivera's jaw tightened. That's negligence. I know a lawyer, Jenna Hayes, who handles these cases. Jenna, sharp and empathetic,
Met me the next day.
we can sue for medical expenses, emotional distress. Arizona recognizes parental duty even for adult children in dependency situations. We built a case, recordings I'd secretly made of arguments, legal in one-party consent states like Arizona. Medical records. Witness statements from Mrs. Vargas. Meanwhile, symptoms worsened, numbness in my arm, migraines that left me bedridden. Parents noticed but doubled down. See? Stress from your rebellion. I moved in with Mrs. Vargas temporarily, citing a work opportunity. Freedom tasted sweet, like rain in the desert. Living with Mrs. Vargas in her cozy bungalow on the edge of Red Rock felt like emerging from a cave into sunlight. Her home smelled of fresh tortillas and sage, a far cry from the tense silence of my parents' place. She mothered me without smothering, hot tea for headaches, quiet company during dizzy spells. You're strong, Emily, she'd say, her accent warm from years in the Southwest. But even cacti need water sometimes. For the first time, I breathed freely, planning my next moves. Jenna Hayes dove into the legal weeds with gusto. Your parents' actions violate Arizona's vulnerable adult statutes, she explained in her cluttered office downtown. Denying medical access. Physical abuse, that slap counts as assault. We'll seek damages and a restraining order if needed. We gathered ammo. My secret audio clips captured Mom's rants, "You're faking for sympathy," and Dad's dismissals.
Dr.
Rivera's report detailed how delays exacerbated nerve damage.
Potentially permanent. Rita.
The social worker filed a report with APS, triggering an investigation. Word spread subtly in our tight-knit town. Cousins texted concern. Aunt Carla called, horrified after hearing whispers. But my parents? Radio silence at first, then desperation. Mom showed up at Desert Pages. Makeup flawless, but eyes red-rimmed. "Emily, come home. We're worried." I stayed behind the counter. Worried enough to believe me now. She glanced around, whispering, "This is embarrassing the family. Drop this nonsense." I shook my head. The nonsense was ignoring a tumor. Dad tried next, cornering me after a shift. We did what we thought best. Anxiety runs in the family. Your mom struggled too. That admission floored me. Then why deny me help? He shifted uncomfortably. We couldn't afford another wild goose chase. Excuses, not apologies. I walked away, heart heavy but resolved. Surgery loomed, scheduled at Flagstaff Medical Center via a charity fund Dr. Rivera pulled strings for. No insurance meant no parental veto. Pre-op tests confirmed the tumor's growth. Waiting longer risked paralysis. Nights blurred into anxiety, but support poured in, Mrs. Vargas cooked nourishing meals. Rita checked in weekly. Even a GoFundMe from coworkers covered incidentals. Then came the bombshell. Scrolling news on my phone, I saw it. My parents interviewed on a local Phoenix TV segment. Tough love in trying times. Mom teared up. Our daughter battled health anxiety. We stood firm against enabling it. Dad nodded. She's thriving now, proof that boundaries work. They painted me as dramatic, themselves as heroes. Rage boiled. But Jenna smiled. Gift-wrapped evidence. Public false statements strengthen our defamation claim. We countered strategically. Jenna leaked anonymized records to a reporter friend at the Arizona Republic. The article dropped the next day. Teen ignored by parents faces life-altering surgery. It detailed the tumor, delays, abuse, backed by experts. Social media exploded. Believe Emily trended locally. Calls flooded my parents' phones, not support, but outrage. Mom's real estate listings dried up. Dad's firm put him on leave pending review. They lawyered up, countersuing for slander. But Jenna dismantled it. Truth is an absolute defense. APS investigators visited them, citing potential elder abuse laws if patterns emerged. Ironic, given Grandpa's concerns. A mediation was set, neutral ground in a Phoenix conference room, desert sprawl visible through windows. Walking in, flanked by Jenna and Rita. Nerves jangled. Parents sat stiffly, their lawyer a slick suit from the city. Mom's eyes pleaded. Emily, this tears us apart. Dad added, we love you. Let's settle privately. But love, where was it in burnt referrals or slaps? We presented evidence, scans, audios, timelines. Their lawyer blanched. Settlement talks ensued. They agreed to cover surgery costs via insurance. Ironically, therapy bills, and a trust for my independence. No admission of guilt, but a no-contact clause for 6 months. Post-mediation, Mom approached tentatively. We were scared. Bills piling up. Your past episodes. I cut in softly. Fear doesn't justify harm. I needed parents, not wardens. Tears fell. Dad hung back.
Ashamed.
It wasn't forgiveness yet, but a crack in the armor. Surgery day arrived under clear skies. Wheeled into, or DR. Rivera squeezed my hand. You've got this. Waking groggy.
Pain dulled by meds.
I learned it went well, tumor out. Minimal complications. Recovery meant PT, for nerve damage. But prognosis was good. Mrs. Vargas visited daily. Smuggling in churros. Messages from strangers inspired. Your story saved my kid. We got checked. In quiet moments, staring at saguaro cacti from my window, I reflected. Revenge felt hollow. Humanity lay in boundaries and growth. My parents' denial stemmed from their own fears, Mom's unresolved issues, Dad's financial traumas. Not excuses, but context. The lesson? Listen before it's too late. Love means believing, not controlling. Recovery wasn't a straight trail through the desert. It twisted like the canyons around Red Rock, with unexpected drops and climbs. The first weeks post-surgery were brutal, incision site throbbing. Left arm weak like a limp noodle. Headaches lingering as nerves healed. Physical therapy at the clinic became my routine, stretches under fluorescent lights. A therapist named Miguel pushing me gently. One step at a time. Emily. Rome wasn't built in a day. Clichés. But they grounded me in this Western resilience we'd all grown up with. Mrs. Vargas's home became my sanctuary. Her guest room overlooking a garden of prickly pears blooming pink. She shared stories of her own battles, immigrating from Mexico, raising kids alone after her husband's passing. Pain shapes us, but doesn't define us, she'd say over evening tea. Her wisdom softened my edges. Anger toward my parents simmered down to embers. Legal loose, ends tied up neatly. Settlement funds hit my account, enough for a small apartment and tuition. Jenna negotiated therapy coverage, sessions with DR. Lena Torres unpacked the trauma. Gaslighting erodes trust, she explained. Rebuilding starts with validating your truth. We explored family dynamics, Mom's perfectionism from her competitive real estate world, Dad's penny pinching from childhood poverty. Understanding bred compassion, not absolution. The no-contact period stretched like summer heat. Parents sent cards, apologies scripted but sincere. We failed you. Therapy's helping us see that. I didn't respond immediately. Healing demanded space. Instead, I focused on rebuilding, back at Desert Pages part-time, enrolling in psychology classes online. The tumor's legacy? A faint scar and occasional numbness. Reminders to advocate for myself. Town buzz faded, but impact lingered. The Republic articles sparked awareness. Local clinics offered free screenings for young adults. I volunteered at a support group for medical neglect survivors, sharing my story in a community center amid folding chairs and coffee urns. I collapsed at a family party. I'd recount. But rising meant facing truths, mine and theirs. Faces nodded. Shared pain bonded us. 6 months in, I initiated contact, a neutral coffee shop in Phoenix. Jenna as buffer. Parents arrived haggard but hopeful. Mom hugged me tentatively. Emily, we're so sorry. We let fear blind us. Dad teared up. I prioritized money over your health. Unforgivable. No excuses this time. They'd been in counseling. Unpacking generational patterns. Your grandma had undiagnosed issues, Mom admitted. I repeated the cycle. We talked for hours. Tears. Awkward silences.
Tentative longue.
Forgiveness wasn't instant. Like flipping a switch, it was a slow thaw. I need boundaries, I said. Trust rebuilds gradually. They agreed, offering to fund ongoing PT without strings. We parted with hugs. A fragile bridge rebuilt. Life normalized in fits. I moved into a tiny studio near the bookstore, decorating with desert art, symbols of endurance. Dates with a kind barista named Jake brought lightness. Hikes rebuilt strength. The red rocks a backdrop for reflection. One evening, atop a bluff at sunset, golden light bathing the valley, I felt peace. The drama had been a crucible, forging resilience. But humanity won out. At a family dinner months later, neutral ground at Grandpa's, tensions eased. Mom shared her college cis story vulnerably. I minimized it. Did the same to you. I'm learning. Dad joked self-deprecatingly. No more playing doctor. Real ones only. Laughter rippled. Healing cracks. The light lesson? Denial destroys. But empathy rebuilds. In the West, we romanticize lone wolves. But true strength lies in packs, listening, supporting, evolving. My scar? A badge of survival, not bitterness. As fall painted red rock in ochre hues, my life blossomed like monsoon wildflowers. Full-time at Desert Pages, I curated a section on health advocacy, books that might have saved me earlier. Classes shifted to in-person at the community college. Psychology major fitting like a glove. You're a natural listener, professors noted, echoing therapy breakthroughs. Reconnection with family deepened gradually. Weekly calls with mom evolved from stilted to genuine. She joined a support group for parents of ill children, sharing vulnerabilities. Dad sent articles on financial planning for health crises, his way of atoning. Holidays approached cautiously. Thanksgiving at Grandpa's brought tentative warmth. Around the table laden with turkey and green chili stuffing, we toasted growth. To second chances, Grandpa said, winking at me. No drama, just quiet gratitude. The case settled fully. Parents paid restitution without contest. Fund seeding a scholarship for neglected youth. Jenna and I spoke at a conference in Tucson. Legal clarity saves lives, she emphasized. Arizona's laws protect vulnerable adults. Use them. Attendees applauded. One young woman approached post-talk. Your story got me to the doctor. Assist. Caught early. Impact rippled. Humane ripples. Romance with Jake added joy. Picnics in the canyons. Stargazing under vast skies. You're a fighter, he'd say. Tracing my scar.
No pity.
Just admiration. Friends multiplied. Support group folks became confidants. Mrs. Vargas, a surrogate grandma. Reflecting on the ordeal. The revenge fantasy I'd harbored faded. Exposing them publicly could have destroyed, but choosing mediation preserved humanity. The lesson? Light yet profound. Pain often stems from unhealed wounds. Address yours. Extend grace to others. In Western lore, outlaws seek vengeance. Heroes seek justice with mercy. A year post-surgery, I stood at a podium for the inaugural Emily Carter Advocacy Award ceremony, a small event at the community center. They dismissed my tumor as drama, I shared. But I learned families aren't perfect, they're human. Listen actively. Seek help boldly. Forgive wisely. That's how we heal. Applause swelled. Mom and Dad in the audience clapped hardest, tears shining. Life's not a tidy western. Loose ends linger, like faint arm weakness on cold days. But scars tell stories of survival. In Red Rock's enduring landscape, I found my voice, my peace, my path forward.